Tonight, the situation on the border between Turkey and Syria is deteriorating. As Turkish forces continue to pound northeastern Syria, there are new reports about an explosion near U.S. forces who are in the area still. A statement from the Department of Defense tonight saying U.S. troops in the vicinity of Kobani came under artillery fire from Turkish positions. The explosion occurred within a few hundred meters of a location outside the security mechanism zone and in an area known by the Turks to have U.S. forces present. That follows a statement from the Turkish government saying, quote, "We firmly reject the claim that U.S. or coalition forces were fired upon, that they opened reciprocal fire on terrorist positions located just over half a mile from a U.S. observation post." This adds, of course, a dangerous and tense new dynamic to an already very tense situation. We go now to northern Syria, where NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel is on the ground and joins us now live. Richard, what do you know? What have you seen or heard about U.S. forces being possibly in the way or at risk as the Turkish assault continues?
So U.S. forces, their location was fired up. Multiple artillery shells landed near their base. We were told that the American forces were not injured, were not hurt or killed, but they heard these explosions. They had to pull back for their own safety, and they immediately complained to the Turks, "Hey, this is too close. Don't do this." And the Turks said in a statement, "We did not target the Americans. We were targeting the Kurds." And the problem is the Kurds and the Americans for the last 4 years have been working together. They have been co-located in many situations. So the Americans said they were almost hit, and the Turks said, "Well, we didn't try to hit you. We tried to hit your terrorist friends." And that is the problem here. The Americans' troops have been put in a incredibly uncomfortable situation, an untenable situation, and for some of them, they believe an immoral situation. There are still 1,000 U.S. troops in this country. People keep talking about American troops being pulled out, being pulled back. There are 1,000 troops here. For the last 4 years, these troops were working with the Kurds. They were fighting against ISIS. They were incredibly effective in destroying the ISIS state. And the reward that their partners got, the Kurds, was to have President Trump order American troops to pull back. And when President Trump gave the green light to Turkey, the Turkish forces invaded, and now the American troops have to watch their allies under attack. And now themselves, they are getting shells fired right next to their base. And the reason I said that President Trump gave the green light to this assault, even though the president and Secretary of State Pompeo continue to dispute this, it is obvious that this happened. It is in black and white. It is in a White House statement. You can go right now to the whitehouse.gov and find it. There was a phone call between President Trump and the Turkish President Erdogan. Then after this phone call, the White House issued a statement that said the Turks will soon be carrying out their military invasion. U.S. troops will be pulling back, and U.S. troops will not be in the way. And then lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. U.S. troops pulled back, the Turks invaded, and now those Kurdish allies are getting killed, and about 100,000 of them have had to escape the border area and flee for their lives.
Richard, you've been reporting on this war for years, and I know you've done incredible reporting in this area, in Kobani specifically, which was this remarkable site of a battle with ISIS and those Kurdish fighters. You were there, you saw it happen. What is it like to watch this army and these people that have given their lives and their blood and everything to defeat ISIS now find themselves under shelling and bombing from the other side, from the Turks?
It is obviously a terrible betrayal. It is a stain on American history to have an ally that is then betrayed. But the real frightening part is this could just be the beginning. The Kurds are deeply concerned that this isn't just a campaign by Turkey against the Kurds because the Turks don't like the Kurds and they're punishing them somehow. The Turks believe that this is going to be a long-term campaign and they want to settle this area. So the Kurds that we've been talking to say they are soon going to face a campaign of genocide, a campaign of ethnic cleansing that President Trump gave the green light to. And there is a demographic factor that is very important here. So in the spirit of the way you've been laying out things, let me just lay this out, because I think you need to understand this framework to understand this context. There are about 2 million Kurds right here in northern Syria where I am. with the American protection over the last 4 years, as they've been fighting ISIS, these 2 million Kurds have created a little state, and it has been hugely successful. One of the most stable places in the Middle East, and they've had this immense friendship with the Americans, and the Kurds have been growing more and more confident as they've been getting more and more stable. Towns like Kobani were opening up and were flourishing. Just across the border in Turkey, there are roughly 12 million Kurds. And for a long time, they have been complaining in Turkey that they're treated as second-class citizens. They have been uprisings staged by those Kurds in Turkey. And Turkey has been very concerned that if there is this successful Kurdish enclave here in northern Syria, that it will inspire the 12 million Kurds inside their country to rise up. So it's not that they're just attacking this enclave to destroy it. Turkey has a plan to move Arab refugees from inside Turkey and settle them here, settle them on top of this enclave. 1 to 3 million people displacing the Kurds. And that is why the Kurds are so panicked. They say they are fighting not just against the Kurds, not just against the Turks. They are fighting for their own existence. So they say it is not just a mere betrayal, not that they're just offended that they worked so hard with the Americans. They say Donald Trump, with this order, has opened the door to possible ethnic cleansing. And like I said, already 100,000 of them are on the move.
Richard, that was the best explanation I've heard of this entire situation in this week of coverage. Thank you so much for joining us live from Syria tonight. I really appreciate it. Richard, I should note, has a documentary airing this Sunday here on MSNBC, On Assignment, Trump in Ukraine, Fact and Fiction, airs at 10 p.m. this Sunday.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.